This conference will now be recorded.
Right. Okay, so let's open different versions of Tableau. That's fine. So let's register that. So in the previous sessions, we were trying to discuss about what is a live connection, what is an extract connection, and what are the differences between both of them, and how do we get the updated data from the data source if the data is changing. We have to use a refresh option and extract refresh in extract connections. And today we will talk about something about how the fields are categorized in Tableau from the first screen to the second screen. So we'll talk about that very soon. Right, so what version is
Hi.
this?
Hello. Hi. May I know your name?
I'm Pradeep.
Pradeep. Sorry, Pradeep. Sorry to interrupt you. Actually, yesterday was my first class, and today is my second class. I really don't know what was there, day before yesterday. What was, classes, happened. So
Oh,
what did I miss? If you could explain me over there, I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any idea what I missed and what
mhm.
I'm following over here. So if I have
Uh,
that clarity, I can follow it. You understand my, concern, whatever it
yeah,
is, right?
yeah. So the previous day we just saw how to install Tableau desktop and what are the minimum prerequisites of installing Tableau desktop, and how did we connect to the notepad, how to connect to Excel, and how to connect to the database. So we just saw that part in the previous session. So not more than that, very simple, only 3 topics, very small ones. But I would strongly recommend you to get the recordings of all the previous sessions if you have not attended before. So you will get the recordings what we discussed. So it's always useful when you see the complete recording. It's very simple ones where you can easily follow that. But the topic wise is just the installation and the connectivities only.
Hi, Pradeep. Yeah, I got to know that it's my mistake. I mean, Inshooter,
No
he
worries,
has
no
given
worries.
videos as well. It's my mistake. I didn't go through
Oh,
that.
no. Okay. Right, no worries. And you can always go through that. And there's a group already in WhatsApp. So after you visit the previous recordings and if you have any queries, you can always post your questions and I'll be there to answer your questions. So I don't want to leave anyone behind.
It's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so where we are opening 2 different versions of Tableau today. All right, so remind me tomorrow. Okay, so this is a 2018 version of Tableau and the other one is 2020.2, the latest version. So what I wanted to show in old and new is the very important concept here. So that concept is, how are the fields understood by Tableau and how are they categorized, like the dimensions and measures, what are they? So we are going to see that now. So today's topic is dimensions versus measures. We'll see that what are they, where are they available. So I'm connecting to a small data set again, because if I connect to 10,000 rows, which has so many columns, so we really don't understand much. So I'm connecting to the small data set, which we are using from the last 1 or 2 days. So I'll just quickly open that. So where is that? Files available by default. These documents, my Tableau repository. This is a folder, data sources, and this is where I stored. This is the only data available, and so observe here the columns are separated by comma. This is a delimiter here. So how the values are separated? Based on comma here. All right, let's connect this data very quickly. And so I'm saying here save and then minimize. How do we generally connect to the notepad? We go to the text file and then we browse for the location and then we used to connect it. But I'm very lazy fellow, so I don't want to do all these selections. So do I have any shortcut here? Yeah, the shortcut is just pick that file and drag and drop it here directly. See the other way of doing this here. You can always open from the menu, or you can just drag and drop that into Tableau. So it connects automatically. All right, now observe these things here. So what we were discussing in the previous day, we have 3 columns and every column has a data type here. So ABC represents it's a string and the hash represents the numbers. Very good. So hash is for numbers and ABC is for the strings. Excellent. And keep an eye on the number of columns we have. We have only 3 columns. All right, remember them. And let's go to the next screen from here. So let's click on sheet 1. So when I click on that, so we are going to this screen. This is the name of the data source which we connected. That's fine. And observe here, this data pane is divided into 3 sections here. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3, isn't it? So we have connected to 3 different sections. Just hang on, I'm getting a call from Institute. Does anyone have any problem? Okay, call is disconnected. Fine. So generally I get a call when anyone is not able to connect, not able to hear my voice, something like that. Okay, that's fine. So the 3 sections are the data source name, dimensions, and measures. What is a dimension? What is a measure? And how many columns we had? We had only 3 columns here. So the columns are the products, sales, and profits. Products is coming up here. Sales and profits are coming here. Okay, that means Tableau is understanding our data in some fashion and it is trying to group them, some under dimensions and some under measures. Okay, but I need to know, sir, what is a dimension? I don't know what is a measure. If I know that, then I can understand like why this is going here and why this is coming here. All right, so we have to start with the terminologies, the dimensions, and the measures. All right, so let's try to understand what are they. All right, let's put something here. What is a dimension? In very simple terminologies, what will be the dimension here is, let's save this very quickly, and then let's start that here. I have to upload all of them into the drive, so which I'll do that today. Notes. All right. So what is a dimension? How do we define that? Is the fields whichever we have, if those fields are describing about your business. Okay, what is that again? So if the fields are describing about your business, then those fields are categorized into dimensions. So let's put that very quickly. So which describes about the business. Okay, so we'll elaborate on that. And what is a measure here is which measures the business. That means, let's say I have a small store where I'm selling something, some different products. Now, if I say that I have these many products in my business, A, B, C, so I have so many products here, A, B, C, and different products. All right, that's fine. And I have like some customers coming into my store, and they are trying to purchase some products. Very nice, that is also fine. Now, if I say the products, if I say the customers, with the help of these two, can you tell me, is your business is running in profits or is your business in loss? Really, I cannot tell anything, because these are the fields which just tells you what type of products you are selling and what customers you have, how many customers you have. So I really don't know. If I want to see whether my business is running in profits or in loss, it's inclining or declining, I really don't know. How do you know whether your business is running well? Only in terms of the numbers, isn't it? So we need the numbers everywhere. Your salary, our earnings, anything that revolves around the numbers. That means you are measuring something. So then those kind of the fields will get into the measures here. So that means I can measure something in terms of the numbers, which are the profits, not only profits, not only sales. So here even I can have many things here. Discount. Yeah, discount is also some number. So that means, can I finalize something here? Every number gets into measure, and other than numbers gets into the products. Now it is too early to come to the conclusion. Let's take a look here. But for now, what is important? Just this step, which describes about your business and which measures the business. And in my notepad, I had only three things, which is product. So product, I cannot tell whether my business is loss or profit. So this goes into the field dimension. So this is describing my business, which product. Sales and profits, yeah, this is something which I can measure my business. Okay, some idea, but this is not yet final. So we'll see some more things. And keep an eye here. I did not have this column, and I did not have these columns in my data source. So where are these coming from? So these are the default fields added by Tableau. So this is a default field, and even these two are the default fields added by Tableau. So we need them to solve good number of problems. All right, so just make a note of this, the measure names and the measure values. So names goes into dimensions and the values comes into the measures. And you have another field which is number of records. All right, so this is 3 fields we have in the old version of Tableau, which is 2018.2 or 18.1, anything is fine. So you find this in 2018. So what are the default fields in Tableau? This is one interview question. So default fields under dimension is measure names, and under measures you have 2 things here. So we'll see what is the use of these 2 fields. Now very quickly we will connect to the latest version of Tableau, and we'll use the same notepad and observe the difference or the latest thing which we have in the latest version. The screens are same till here. Go to the sheet, and what is the difference we find in the old version and in the new version? This name is not there here. This name is not there here. So the names are removed. This was there from 8 version onwards. So that means from 2008 to 19 we had these dimensions and measures names. But from 20 onwards they have removed these words here, dimensions and measures. All right, and that's been replaced with the tables. That's one thing. And do you have the same thing here? Measure names, and number of records and measure values. Oh, here the number of records is replaced by sample text count. All right, so there's some small difference here, isn't it? So what does number of records tells you? How many records you have in your table or in your data source. How do I see that? So if I can just put that anywhere in this, I'll get the result here. So the number of records I had is 6. So don't worry where I'm dragging and dropping. So what is the use of this? I'm just telling you. So the number of records, it is 6. And here, so if you take this and if you drag and drop that, even it shows the same thing here. All right, it is 6. But there's a small difference here. We'll talk about that. So this is the difference between 18 and the 19 version. So there is no dimension, there is no measure, but these are dimensions and these are measures. That's one point. And now we know something about this. Let's connect it to a bigger data. So bigger data means I want to connect it to the default Excel file, which is provided by Tableau. So let's go to, where is the default file? Okay, I don't have it here. So I'll pick up that from any folder, and let's pick this folder, and I want to just drag and drop it here. But how do you connect it? You have to click on this and go to the Excel and you can connect it. So I'm dragging, dropping this table, and now I have got so many rows here. That's nice. That means so many columns. Very good. Let's go to sheet 1 and now observe here. So there are fields coming into dimensions, there are fields coming into the measures. All right, now let's keep an eye on what are the dimension fields which it gets added here. So order ID. Okay, what is the order ID? What it has, what data it has. I can look at the data source. What is order ID having? This one. This is a combination of the numbers and the strings. So the data type is a string. Okay, so with this order ID, I cannot tell whether my business is good or bad. All right, so that's why it is coming up in the dimension. I'll assume that. Okay, that's fine. And let's look at the other one, row ID. And did you observe every field has got its data type as well? So what are these here? The data types. You don't have to go back to this screen to see what data type it is. So that data type is already listed here in this way. It is very, very, very useful for us. So now when we were discussing dimension, we just discussed that numbers can go into the measures. But when I see hash symbol, that means this is a number. So why this is coming in dimension? It has to go into measure. That's a valid point. Let's take a look at the row ID. So what data it has got. Okay, you can go to data source and check that, but every time coming here, so it is not good, isn't it? Changing the screens. So can I see that from this list? Click on the view data of just the table. The same thing will be displayed here. So where is row ID? So here is my row ID. Okay, so this is a numbers. Yes, my expectation was this should get into this column, which is a measures section. But why it is coming here means with this 1, 2, 3s, the numbers, I cannot really tell what is my business, isn't it? So really, I cannot tell whether my business is good or bad. So now I'm getting some clarity here. That means even though there are numbers in your data, if that numbers doesn't give any inputs about your business, like how it is performing, then even numbers can be in the dimensions section. So that means what we can conclude here is finally, dimensions can have numbers as well, as long as they don't talk about business, as long as they don't measure the business. So with just the numbers, what we can tell? Nothing. So the conclusion here is, so dimensions which describes about the business, all those fields get into the dimension section, and any fields that helps measuring my business, then those fields will be categorized under the measures section. Now look at what you have in the measures. I have discounts, I have profits, I have quantity, I have sales. So anything related to the measurement, then it goes into this section. All right. So this is a line which we have to remember for now. But there is still one more step to understand about the dimensions and the measures. But for now, only point to remember is this point. Dimensions describes the business, and the measure which measures the business. Only that point. All right, so keep that in mind. And now let's try to drag something. The first drag and the drop will perform here. So we'll analyze where to drag, where to drop, and we'll start building some reports here. All right. Okay, so let's drag something here. So where can I drag and drop? I can drag and drop into any of these fields, even here, here, or here. All right, so you can drag and drop the dimensions, the measures into these many areas. Okay, let's see, let's build something here. So I'm taking the first dimension here. Let's take the first dimension, which is of string data type, and I want to put that here into this or into this. What happens if I put in rows first? Let's see that. Okay, so if I place that here, the values are displayed here. There are a few things to understand. When I drag and drop it here, then this is coming in the blue colored pill, isn't it? So this is in blue color, and the technical name, we call it as a pill, P-I-L-L. It is like a capsule, isn't it? So dimensions are coming in the blue colored pills, point number one. If I place in the rows, so that means it is very similar to your Excel. So if you are writing in the rows, it is something like this. But can I put in columns as well? Yeah, let's take a look. Why can't we put that in the columns? Now, can I just move this to columns? Yes, definitely. You can move that to columns, and you can see now the data is shown in terms of the columns here. All right. So that means I can drag my dimension into rows or into columns. So how does it differ? So this is how it differs. You are getting A, B, C here. So that indicates that it is of some string data type. Okay. Now I want to drag a measure as well. Okay, I want to drag a measure. So let's take any one, and I want to take this and put into the column shelf. Oh, it started building something here. But I'm not worried about what it shows here. Let's try to understand these things first. So dimension is showing as a blue color, and the measures are showing as the green color pills. Point number one. Second point here is, if I drag the dimension, it just showed the same name what I have here. Same name, region. But when I drag the sales, it is trying to show as sum of sales. I did not say add sum. Why are you summing that? Yeah, we might get frustration. But the default behavior of Tableau is, if we drag any measures, it is trying to add the aggregation. I'm using a new word here. What is that new word? Aggregation. Aggregation means the functions like sum, minimum, maximum, average, count, count distinct, and so on. So mathematical functions. So it is trying to apply sum of sales. So we might get a question, when we have so many aggregations like this, why it is only applying sum? Because the default aggregation in Tableau is sum, right? So this is another interview question here. So what is the default aggregation in Tableau? So that is the sum here. So let's put that in the interview questions. So this is how many things we had. So question. So let's put that here. What is the default aggregation in Tableau? So aggregation means nothing but you are adding and you are taking the minimum, maximum, average, count. So those functions are called as aggregations. So even I'll put that here very quickly. What is a dimension? What is a measure? So even this is a very important interview question. And then what is aggregation? So aggregation means the functions like sum, minimum, Excel functions only, and this is not Tableau related one. Count, average, count D, then standard deviation, variance, you have got so many things, but these are the main ones. But what exactly it is doing here, that is what I want to see, what it is doing here. All right, now let's go back to the table here. All right, let's go back to table and observe this part. So if you understand this topic, then Tableau is very easy. This is my table. So it contains 10,000 records. Isn't it? So it contains 10,000 records, and every record has some value. It can be south, west, east, central, something like that. But when I drag region into the rows, it showed only 4 values here. Okay, why it showed only 4 values means, very important point, the dimensions are always discrete. So what is that statement I'm making here is, so dimensions are often discrete or always discrete. What is the meaning of discrete? Dimensions are always discrete. That means don't show me the duplicate values. Show me only the unique values here. Okay, in this 10,000 rows, what all unique values you have, so show them here like this. So central, show me only one value. Don't show me the duplicates. So like that, it showed only 4 values. Very good. Now why it added some here means, so for central, what is the sales you have? Now let's move this in table. Where is the sales here? Let's put that sales. Now what is Tableau doing here means it is trying to add all values for the central region. Because you said show me only one value, so central is shown. And now how can I show all these values together? Because you said only one value, then it is summing all these values, adding all these values, and it is showing one number here. And this is where the default function sum is applied here. So what is that number now? I want to see the number. So how can I see the number? It did not show me anything on the screen. Yes, I want to see the number. Then make use of this option here. So what is this option here? T. T means label. In old versions of Tableau, this will be something like ABC. In 8 version, that will be a different symbol, but from 10 version, you will see this as the label, and you can see the same thing here. Right, so when I click on this, what happens? It is trying to show some numbers on the screen. That means it is trying to sum all the values at the central, and it is showing the numbers. How did we build this chart? I want to clear everything and do it again. Okay, you want to clear everything, then what I should do? So then make use of this option here. So what is this option? So clear everything. So click on this, everything is removed. Now I don't want to do with this button. I want to remove one by one. Is it possible? Yes, you can remove one by one. Even that is possible. So how? You have 2 ways. Number one, you can just drag this again and drop it in this empty area. All right, so just release your mouse, that will be gone, and you can just take this again and put it there. Now that is also gone. But what is the second way? How to remove that is click on this drop down and you will find the option remove. So click on remove and click on the drop down, click on remove. All right, so we are seeing some options here. This is a label and this is to clear everything on the screen. I want to build it again. Very nice, build it again. So take this and put that here. Sir, why only rows? So why can't columns? Do we have any difference? No difference. Put that here. And I want to put sales now in the rows. Very good. So there is no difference here. So remember a very important point. Where to drag dimensions into the row shelf or column shelf, there is no restriction. You can place it in these 2 columns as per your wish. So there is no restriction of where you have to pull the values from the left side. So there is no restriction. Point number 1. And let's build it again because there's one more point or few points here. So let's clear everything using this button. I'm dragging region into the rows. Okay. So now observe, this is called as the header. So this is called as the header. That means similar like column name. So if I drag dimensions into the rows or into the columns, then it creates headers. This is a technical term. And if I drag measures, into the rows or into the columns, then what we call this as, So what we call this as the axis here. So we call this as axis. So these we call it as the headers, and this we call it as the axis. So point is, dimensions create headers and measures create axis. Because measures has numbers, so you will get the axis here. So if you right click on this, you can see that you can edit the axis here. All right, so very important point. So dimension creates headers and measures create the axis. All right, so remember that point. We need that shortly. And how to show the labels here? Click on this labels. Yes, the numbers are displayed. Very nice. Now I changed my mind. Sir, I want to put the regions into columns and the sales into rows. So I mistakenly put the regions into rows, but I wanted to put region into columns. Okay, so don't remove them from here. So there is an option here, which is swapping the views. So this is the option which is used for swapping. So you can swap what you have on rows, what you have in columns. So just observe what happens if I do that. So click on that. Now region, it came into columns, and sales, it went into the rows. And the report also got changed. So it was in this fashion. Now it became in this fashion. So the report was like this, and report now became like this. So yes, you can use this option to swap through the reports. All right, so another option here. And if you observe, there is a very large empty space here. Why should we waste this space? Isn't it? When we are paying, why should we waste? Right, I want to occupy the complete screen. Okay, if you want to occupy the complete screen, then there is an option here. So you make use of this drop down. So what we can do with this drop down, click on this, you will find 4 options only. And let's say entire view. By default, it is standard, but no, please, you make use of the complete view. All right, so this is how it displays. And can I swap it now? You can swap it anytime you want. So this is how it looks like. All right, so the first basic report which we are generating is we are using one dimension, we are using one measure, and this is how we are trying to build it. And let's change the name of the sheet here. All right, so how to change the name of the sheet? Right click and edit the title, and let's say here, what is that you are trying to show? Region sales. Can I write here, this is region wise sales? So this is what I'm trying to show to my customer. Right, so this is a title, and this is the axis, this is the headers. Right, the very first basic report here. Okay, now can I conclude that dimensions are blue color and measures are green color? Yeah, when I drag that, it is showing those colors. So yes, I want to confirm that dimensions are blue and the measures are green. Yeah, most of the people, so they say that yes, that is the right answer. Of course, that is the right answer, but explanation is not right. What does that mean? So there is something else which is deciding the color. But yes, when you drag the dimension, it shows in blue color only, but it is not because that you drag from here, it shows in blue color. Right? I can change something here, and if I drag it to the columns or the rows, that shows green color again. Oh, can we really do that? Yes, we can do that. So if I drag from the dimensions, I can show that that comes into the green color. Okay, then who is deciding the color? Very important one. So who is deciding the color here is, let's that in the notes directly. And here there are two terms here which are very, very important here, which is discrete versus continuous. These are the terms which are defining the colors of the dimensions and the measures. Okay, what is discrete and what is continuous? All right, let's take a look here. So what is a discrete and what is continuous? So let's create a let's put that in the interview section. Where is that interview? Notepad, did we close it? Sorry. So I want to put that information here itself.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
these dimensions and measures by default Tableau arranges them, or we have to pick and place?
Now Tableau arranges them based on this statement. So dimensions and measures. So based on which one, which is describing the business and which is measuring the business. But you can also move them from dimensions to measures, measures to dimensions. So we can also do that, and sometimes we have to do that to get the required result. In discrete and continuous. So there are two terms which describes the colors of the dimensions and the measures here. So let's see what is that which is defining the colors of the dimensions and the measures. So let's put the first one, which is the dimensions. So what is the criteria which Tableau is considering for a field, whether it should place in the dimensions or in the measures? Yeah, this one. Sorry, which one? Based on measuring the business. Yes, along with that, there are few things here which Tableau evaluates. So what is that here? So I've just put here discrete. Discrete means what? It is a unique one. But the first point is the values which cannot be broken down into fractions or decimals. So Tableau evaluates each field. So you got a question, isn't it? So how does it evaluates, and who has to do that? So Tableau will do it by itself, but it considers these factors here. So the first column, let's say you have not row ID, let's come to the row ID later. Let's take category. So category, what are the text values it has? So it has got the furniture, it has got the text values here, office supply. So this is a text here. Okay, now evaluate this point here. So which point? This one. Is that, where did we, where are we writing those things? Oh, we have two copies, bad. All right, so are these values can be broken into fractions? Can you break this word furniture into two parts? No, it is really not possible. So yes, first condition satisfied. So I cannot break down into fractions or into decimals. So I will consider this as the dimension. All right, so the values which cannot be broken down into fractions, then Tableau understands, okay, this column should go into the dimension section. All right, and the second point here is discrete values are always the distinct values. That means you will have the unique values here. So you will have the unique values means there will not be any duplicates here. So same product name, you don't have two entries in your database, right? And what is the third point here which it evaluates is, so discrete values. So the discrete values are always countable. are always countable. So can you count them? How many values you have in category, or how many cities you have? Yes, I can count them. So what is the problem? So I can count how many cities I have, how many regions I have, how many customers I have. So it can be the name or ID, isn't it? So I can count them. So when you can count them, so then that values will be considered as the discrete values. And this is the reason. So the discrete values are shown in blue color. So that means internally it is not dimensions which are shown in blue color. If the value is treated as the discrete, then only it shows in blue color. But 99% of the cases, the dimensions shows in blue color. But conclusion is wrong. So if the values are discrete, then only it shows in blue color. And what is the other point here is, so the discrete values are shown as headers, are shown as the headers. So we drag dimension, but the internal concept is the discrete values. So they are shown as the headers. All right. So these are something which is very important, the discrete and the continuous. And now put this line on top of this. Dimensions are, let's say, always, I will just replace that, are most of the time discrete. Right, so I would say 99% of the cases, the dimensions will be treated as the discrete values, but 1% of chances can be the numbers. All right, yeah, we'll talk about that. Now, what is a continuous here? So what is the other one which is continuous? Let's take a look here. So let's try to write the related terms here. Now the first one is the values can be broken into fractions. For example, can I say 50% of the sales? Definitely, we can say that 50% of the sales possible. So the column sales now is matching with this line. So yes, I can break that. Can I say I'm giving 20% discount? Yes, absolutely valid. That means the discount column are now eligible to get into the measures because I can break this into the smaller pieces here. And similarly, you have many things where you can break that. So it can be the time, it can be the height, it can be the weight, it can be the price, it can be the profits, it can be sales, it can be the discounts, it can be quantity. So these values and these columns are definitely can be broken down into smaller pieces. All right, so that's the reason. So the values which can be broken are considered as continuous, and 99% of the measures are continuous. And the second one, continuous values can take any range. So what does that mean? Let's say, for example, if you want to understand point 2, we have to talk about point 3. Continuous. So I'll just copy this word. So the continuous are always measurable. Let's say I want to check the height of a person. So if I want to check the height of a person, so I definitely have to take a tape and I have to start with the 0, and then it is increasing, and let's say 5 feet is the average. So that means I'm starting from 0 and then I'm going upwards. So that means this is something which can be measured. So if the values can be measured, then that is coming under the measures. And what are the examples? Let's say better understand the examples here. the height of a person, the weight of a person, so which has to be measured, the temperature of a person, so which starts from 0 and it goes on, and so temperature nowadays is becoming very important. So generally it ranges from 98.4 to maybe 106 if the person survives, isn't it? So this is the range of the temperatures, common range. But now let's come back to this. It can take any range. That means if I am selling something, my sales today, it can start from 10 rupees and this can go to 10 lakhs, it can go to 100 lakhs, it can go to 1000. So this can go to any number. So there is no limit for that, isn't it? So that means the continuous values can take any range, but most of the time they fit into some range here. But generally it can take any range. So there is no upper limit for that. So if there is no upper limit, then that field will be classified into the measures. See how Tableau considers internally so much logic it will apply before finalizing the field, whether it is a dimension or the measure. So that is where it is trying to categorize. And what is the fourth point? It shows in blue color, but the continuous values are shown in green color. So it is not a measure which shows in green. So it is the continuous values which are shown in green color, right? And the other point here is the continuous values are shown in axis. That's why we got the axis. If I drag the sales, so it started from 0 and it is taking from 0 to 700k, and this number can increase like anything. I don't have any limitation, isn't it? So that kind of the fields will be treated as the continuous, and the continuous will show in green color, right? And the measures are 99.9% continuous fields, right? So these are some minute differences between the dimensions and measures. And so kindly remember a point. It is not that dimensions shows in blue, not measures show in green. If something is showing in blue and green, so that means it is a discrete value, and a green is a continuous value. So keep this in mind, because this is the internal logic which it is applied. All right. So this is something about the dimensions, the measures, the discrete, and the continuous. So I'll take a pause here and we'll answer your questions now. I have to look at the chat window. So if Tableau arranges the dimensions and measures based on discrete or continuous, then how the fields like row ID, order ID are placed in the dimensions? Very good point. So why is the row ID the number? So why it is going into measure? So now you can just go through these points again. Can that number be broken down into decimals? So row ID is like the values what you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Can I say 50% of the first row ID? Not possible. 50% of the second row ID? Not possible, isn't it? But still you can count it. I can count the number of rows, but I cannot break the values in the row ID. And is a row ID describing about my business? No, it is not describing my business. So the values are not matching here. But of course, they have got some distinct values as well. So there's a continuity. There's no duplicate values in this list. isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have the continuity in the row ID. So there is no duplicate value in this list, isn't it? Yes, that's another point. So the row ID cannot be broken down into smaller pieces. So it doesn't qualify into measures. But even the order ID as well. So order ID also I cannot measure my business here, and I cannot break the values in the order ID field so that it can be treated as the fractional values. Not possible. But sales, profits, yes, the numbers are there. I can say 50% of this profit. I can definitely calculate that, isn't it? So that's the internal logic. So we have to evaluate each point here. And another question, so what about the date and time? Very good question. So date and time, can you break the date? So today is July, what is the date here? July 11th. Can I say half of the date? Not possible. So I cannot break it. But instead I can say break the date means I can say in terms of the day, month, and year, but I cannot say half of this day. So I cannot divide 11 by 2. This is not valid. So those kind of things will get into the dimensions, right, which cannot be broken down into pieces. Then that will be in the dimensions, right? Date is a very special field in every technology. It can be in database, it can be in Tableau, it can be in programming languages, it can be anywhere. The dates are a little special, so we have to talk more about them as we go on. Okay, so any other questions? I don't see anything here. All right, so can I build one more report very quickly? One more report. Okay, let's click on plus icon here, which is a new worksheet, or you can just do from here as well. The shortcut Control M, the new sheet will be created and everything comes up here. Very nice. And I want to drag now something related to the date. Okay, this is a date symbol. I want to drag that into the rows or into the columns. Okay, let's put that into the rows. I set a date, but what it is showing here? Year. Why it is showing here? All right, so the date contains three things, isn't it? So it contains the day, it contains the month, it contains the year. So when I drag that here, so it by default every date field starts showing at the higher value. So in all the three, which one is higher? So this is higher. So generally when we talk about the dates, so we talk about like this. So it is like seconds, minutes, hours, days, week, and then month, and then quarterly, and then half yearly, and then year, isn't it? So which is a bigger one among all this? That is a year. So the first thing it shows here is year. So year of, this is a function in fact, and it shows how many years of data you have. I have 4 years of data. All right, but do you observe I'm seeing a plus icon here? I'm seeing a plus icon, but which I did not see for region. Yes, region is only one field, so it doesn't show anything. But here, the date field, so if you look at the column here, look at the column once, the date contains three things. It doesn't contain time, so it only contains the year, month, and the day. So the first thing it shows is year, and if you click on the plus icon, now it is showing quarter. So there is no half yearly in Tableau. We have to do some manual calculations if you want to show half yearly. And once I click on plus, it shows month wise. If I click on plus, it shows day wise. So when I'm clicking on plus, it is expanding here. So when it is expanding here, so what we call this as, this is the inner dimension. That means the least level. Okay, I can show that by day wise sales. And this one is called as the outermost dimension. Outermost dimension, and this is innermost dimension. All right, now if I drag sales and if I put that information here, it is showing something in the line format. Oh, what is this here? It is showing line, but the very first one it showed a bar. Remember, in Tableau, the default type of chart is a horizontal bar, but if you have a date field, the default type of chart is a line chart here. So you can observe that it is choosing a line chart here. So if you have any date fields, then the default type of chart is a line chart. Okay, and sir, I did not like line chart. I want a bar only. Yes, then how do we change that? So simply click on the marks card here and change from line to bar. Okay, it is showing like that. So why it's not showing this? The values are very small, so it is not able to show that on the screen. But click on the label, then it tells you that what is the sales you got on each day. Okay, now I can show the sales values by every day here. Very nice. I don't want to show day wise. I want to show month wise. Okay, then you can just click on this icon, then it got collapsed. So this is expansion, this is collapsed. And now it is showing month wise sales. Now I don't want even month wise, I want to show only quarter wise. That means you want to remove this. Okay, you can click on this, or I'll just say here remove, then that is gone. So year wise, and I'm showing here quarter wise. Now I don't want quarter wise as well, remove that. Now you are showing in this year how much sales you got. The default again is a bar chart, so which we changed of course. And now this is like year wise sales. Now let's put it, the swap it here. Can I arrange that in the ascending order? I want to put the numbers in the ascending order here, which means that this should come first and this should go next. Can I sort it?
Yeah, you can. Next to that swap button.
Yes, you have these options here. So just click on ascending or descending. Then this is a descending where it is decreasing, and click on this, it is ascending. Right, so what is that you are trying to show? So let's put that here. So this is year wise sales. So how many years we have data? So the data which we have is from 17 to 19. So that means we have 4 years of data to analyze. All right, so which is a huge data to do the analysis. So which we will see in the next coming sessions, how best we can analyze the data and show the results. Okay, this is second sheet which we have, and final step here. I want to save this file because I don't want to just close this file. I want to save this file. Okay, let's do that. So go to file, click on save, save as. Oh, you have two things, very nice. And you also see there's a button here, save button. Okay, let's click on that. All right, this is another interview question. Oh, what? Saving is also a question, sir. Yes, definitely. So in how many ways you can save the workbook, and what are the differences? So if you observe, it is saying save as Tableau workbook And if you observe, there's another option here, save as packaged workbook. So we got some new extensions here. So let's put the extensions in the interview questions list here. So what are the extensions here? So the extensions are TWV, which stands for the Tableau workbook. And what is the other extension? Observe. So it is a TWBX here. So this is a mandatory question almost for everyone. HRs are asking this question. Tableau packaged workbook. What is the difference? All right, so what makes difference? Why they gave two options? All right, so we'll talk about that, not now, in the next session. All right, so it's a very simple difference. So there's no big difference, but we will continue that in the next session. So in which way we have to save, what happens if I save in this format, and what happens if I save in this format. What is the difference? So that will be a mandatory interview question. What is the difference between TWB and the TWBX formats? Right, so we have to know that every single point is very, very important. So at this point, we will talk about this in the next session, but for now, I'm saving it as a TWBX, and let's save this file in our day-to-day activities. So this is 4, and I just want to name it with the day wise. This is July 11th, and Tableau workbook. Save it. It takes a second, and it got saved. And let's fine. The book is saved. So we will stop it here for today, and we will continue with the other topics in the next session, which is on Monday again. So I'm opening up for questions now.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, my name is Harish, and I have joined yesterday itself.
Okay, okay.
And I have missed the basic first communication class, sir, in which you have explained everybody in a very good manner whether they are eligible and for how many years of experience they can be shown in the resume. Okay, and coming to me, I have completed my BTech in 2013, sir, from a reputed college in Chennai. From 2013.
Okay.
What is like diploma-based engineering students, sir, in electronics and communication.
Okay, okay.
After completing my BTech, without any knowledge, I have joined a networking course and have worked for the Wipro as a network
Consultant.
engineer under payroll, sir. Not like a direct Wipro employee, like for just like a payroll employee. And I got a settled up over there and I quit over from there, sir.
Okay.
And later on, like I have worked as a what you say, like as a lecturer in a basic engineering college.
Okay.
And we didn't have any handsome amount of salary. And so I have shifted my field and I went to the automobile industry. Okay, after 3 years, again I am into the, I just thought of coming back to the here in software field, software engineering, and I have selected Tableau. And basically, before coming over here, I have been working on like SQL. So I was like I didn't know like where to start from. And in W3 schools, I have started learning basic SQL just 2-3 days before. And yesterday I have joined the class. What is like your suggestion? Like how can I prepare for this? What can you suggest for me?
Okay. So looking at the background, how long did you work with Wipro?
Wipro, I have worked almost like for 12 months or 1 year. I worked with Wipro in payroll.
Okay, so what did you get the hands on there? I mean, what was your day-to-day activity? Very quick, in 1 minute.
Okay, sir. Actually, we had a project like virtual desktop, right, using Citrix server.
Okay,
Being a system admin, we were installing those things, and if any issues arise over there, remotely we are clearing the issues to the employees in the business.
I see. Okay, okay. So for you, I can suggest Tableau's admin will suit you the most.
Yes,
So
sir.
that, yeah, the Tableau admin. So you have two things in Tableau. You can be a Tableau developer or be a Tableau admin. So Tableau admin is more of the networking stuff, where you have to configure the servers and maintain the Tableau servers and get the data from the databases, and then creating the extracts, schedules, users, permissions, roles. So which is very similar, which you do in your network day-to-day activities. So that will be a very best suit based on your previous profile. Um, but to learn Tableau server, so you have to learn Tableau desktop as well.
It is, sir. Okay.
But I would say focus more on the Tableau admin part other than the desktop part. Right?
Okay.
So then you will have a better future.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Right? But you have to keep the fake experience. The Wipro doesn't help you. You cannot keep Wipro, but you have to claim some other experience. But I would prefer you going through the Tableau admin, so which is a huge demand nowadays in market. No other person can get into admin without the network knowledge. So you should be a CCNA certified. Are you certified in CCNA?
Sir, CCNA actually have went out from the Jetting Institute, sir.
Mhm.
I have got the Jetting Institute, which is parallelly with CCNA, sir. I don't have CCNA, but I have the knowledge of this. If I work for 1 month, I can get the CCNA certificate.
Okay, that will be mandatory for you, because if you apply for the job, then they would prefer the CCNA certified network engineers, so where you can easily get into the Tableau maintenance part, and the salaries are also a little high compared to Tableau developers.
Okay, sir.
And you also need to learn database as well, mandatory, and how to install databases in a cluster. So you are understanding what I mean, isn't it? You have a
Yeah, yes,
nodes,
sir.
multiple
Yeah.
nodes. So maintaining the primary, secondary, failovers, backups of databases as well, and you have to do all that in Tableau. So that
Okay,
will
sir.
be a
Okay.
very good, interesting career if you focus on that.
Okay, sir.
So that's what I can tell you based on my.
Sir, how many years of experience can I claim over here now?
So you can put like 2.5 is also good for you, because the server, so 2.5 is also good, and above, keep above 2.5 or more.
Okay, for server, it is like 2.5. Else, if I want to go like a developer, can I claim
No,
3.5?
yeah, you have to keep minimum 3.5. So if you keep 2.5 for a Tableau developer, there are very less chances are there. So 3.5 is what minimum which is required for developer.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Anyways, to become the Tableau admin, I should go through the Tableau desktop itself.
Yeah, because you need to know what happens here,
Okay, okay.
and only then you can work better.
I
I would say
understand,
it's
sir.
not mandatory. So this is my personal opinion. It is not very mandatory, but you should know like what happens in Tableau desktop. How do you connect it to server? How do you connect to cloud systems? And everything we have to maintain in cloud nowadays. So how to install the required softwares, how to get the connectivities, how to control the access. So you need to know something about the desktop as well.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
Tableau server is based on Tableau desktop. So how you do that? Continuity
Yes,
is there,
yes.
but I
Okay.
would say it's not very mandatory. It is always recommended.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, and I have one another doubt. Like right now, the situation is like not in right way.
Mhm.
Even after completing courses, how much period, like whether the recruiters are preferably taking the tablet developers or how is the situation?
That's a good question. So how will be the calls now, and how will be the calls once this situation ends? So just hang on for a second because I got some information from HR from different companies. Let me just open the. Give me one.
Okay.
Where is that? I'm just checking the graph which I got from a very good person in the market who deals with many companies. Where is the, all right, so the companies nowadays they are not looking to hire 60% of the companies. So they are not looking to hire new people in the last 3 months, and in the next 3 months they are trying to increase. That means that 50% of the companies are looking to hire new people. But till now,
Okay.
that was like 60% they did not do, like last 3 months. But in the next coming 3 months, so this number reduced little bit. And so 50% of the companies, they are willing to hire new people. And after 1 year, let's say from next year, January, so this is just a forecast. So don't take it compulsory. This is a forecast data.
Okay.
And the hiring should be back to normal. So from next January, this is what the expectation is.
Okay, sir. Okay.
But the current situation, it's like most of them, they are not willing to hire new people unless you are a multi-talented and readily available to join as well. So two things which HRs are considering.
Okay. Okay, fine.
So yeah, I think yesterday only we got that report, and this is what it says.
Okay, sir.
All right. So you have to be good in database, networking of the database and the cloud systems and the connectivities, and so many stuffs will be there. Taking the images, taking the backups, and then providing the access, permissions, roles. So Tableau admin suits you best is what I can tell you. Final answer.
Okay, sir. Thanks for your patience here, for your this thing.
Sure,
Okay, sir.
sure.
And I will also think again once whether I want to go as a developer or then I will follow accordingly.
Yeah. So you have to discuss this with multiple people. So don't take only one decision as final. So I would say, so talk to many people who are in the IT, and so project what you said to me, and take the best decision. What you can do it, right? So I always
Sure.
depend on you,
Okay.
right? Okay.
Thank you.
So looking at the chat window, any other things? Yeah, one last thing you remind me. I think this is Anjan, sir. So you have to give me the WhatsApp numbers to get this the group which is active and running. So I see people already started using the group. So if you share the numbers, you will be added to that group. So kindly share your WhatsApp numbers in the chat window, please. Okay, I'm getting few numbers here. And I thought of providing a link to you, but that link is not coming up. All right, so I have 3 numbers. I'll just add this. Oh, I got one more. So use this group as a professional one. So that means, so don't send good morning, good evening, those messages with a nice images. So just a request, because we have 50 such groups running. So very important informations about your day-to-day practice, or any queries in between you have, and information about the class, or once you get a job, so just post it in that group, so we can use that for many purpose. Okay, I'm getting a lot of things. So you are not part of that group yet. Okay, but I see that group is very active. Okay, did I cover everyone? Yeah. All right then, so that's all for today. Thank you very much. And install Tableau desktop multiple versions, and look at the difference in the features, whatever we discussed in the last few days. And those who missed previous sessions, so please take the recording sessions, and if you have any queries, you can post them in the WhatsApp group, which will be created in few minutes, and be up to date. We'll discuss on Monday. Yeah. All right, so thank you very much, and talk to you on Monday. Bye bye.